holding up a tight fight for 2 games, and they are down 1-1. So this is AP BREN got to bring out the absolute best in this game 3 to even have a chance. Kadita and Paquito ban out as usual for AP BREN, and Bigatron Alpha with the Valentina and Claude ban.
Yeah, Melissa, Bigatron Alpha screens Melissa once again, right? Like the Claude's already taken away. AP BREN right here, taking away the Melissa in response right here. Once again, Angela gets to sneak past through the bans unless AP BREN decides to go a little bit creative. Now, are you gonna also ban out the link as well for the side of Bigatron Alpha, because they found Cal TT have found a lot of successes on this link, but of course there's still the Joy, there's also the Kaja that's still wide open on the table. There you go. That's a link taken away from Cal TT.
Yeah, plenty of openness, right? The Faramis is up at the table. You have the Lancelot. You have the Fanny as well. AP BREN now, they got to decide on that first pick. If it is a Faramis, then we might as very well see the Joy and Angela again on Bigatron Alpha.
Yeah.
So AP BREN on this first pick, massive decision to make.
I don't know if you're AP BREN right now after seeing what you had to go through in game number 2 and also partially game number 1. Yeah, I think they've got no choice. They have to first pick the Faramis, right? Like, if not, Bigatron Alpha will definitely grab the Faramis. There's only one dead Cal Altar in this game because the Valentina is already taken away. And like you said, Joy and Angela super wide open. Bigatron Alpha will seek to use the same tools that they used to beat AP BREN in game number 2. These two particular heroes.
And if that's the case, then I feel like it might prompt AP BREN to just snatch up the Kaja or the Franco, right? I feel like you have to consider that route. I know that in game 1, we both agree that, yeah, Kaja, you can catch any target, lock them down, but you also get blown up very easily. But we saw the effect of not having a reliable catch. Compared to the Cho, you would pick the Kaja any day. And this time, I think if we do see the Joy, which we will, and the Grok, the Kaja has to be on the minds of AP BREN.
Yeah, I feel like the Franco is a lot better as compared to a Kaja, right? Whereas Kaja needs to just face check the bush to actually get information. You can use the Franco to just iron hook the bushes to get that information, right? It's a lot safer as compared to a Kaja. It's a lot easier to execute. I feel like they need to secure that because you saw in the second phase of game number 2, Bigatron Alpha just decides to just cancel these 2 heroes right off the bat. And now that's going to be a Grok and also a Joy. Once again, super wide open for the side of Bigatron Alpha. Look at AP BREN just discussing. They're not too sure which of these 2 heroes will be going because they can always change up the script. And yeah, AP BREN doesn't want to get caught with their pants down this time round, just securing the Kaja and then the Fanny.
Yeah, we talked about the Fanny and Kaja going through. Kaja has to be at the back of their minds, and they do went for the Kaja eventually. Fanny to play it as fast as possible, but do remember, they're picking a Fanny directly into a Grok, right? So AP BREN are basically saying that we do not care about that Grok, we want to play as fast as possible, but it doesn't really fully solve the problem of what if Angela or a Florian goes through over to Bigatron Alpha. And on top of that, there's still the Kufra that can be flexed in if they put Zorizo on the Grok once more. This opener is such a flexible one for Bigatron Alpha.
Yeah, just not giving any information. It's the same idea why AP BREN just decides to take away the Paquito, right? The Paquito can go anywhere. There you go. Bigatron Alpha, that's another recipe for disaster. That's an Angela going in for the side of the red robots. AP BREN knows what to deal with. But this time around, I hope they may bring out an Esmeralda because of the shields that Bigatron Alpha is generating. Maybe that could help to equalize that a little bit. But if you go for the Esmeralda, you sacrifice in terms of the tankiness, because if you look at AP BREN, take a look, there's not a lot of tankiness in their side of the roster. AP BREN takes away the Kufra, Bigatron Alpha takes away the Harif.
There's massive respect again from both teams. The Kufra was a massive issue in that game number 2. You're stopping people like the Fanny in the game 2 case. It was the Cho and the Harif, and Bigatron Alpha reading this like a book. I feel like they kind of have this minor one-up over AP BREN just because of this opener. We're gonna see the Terisla ban out as well. No lockdowns for AP BREN. You want to keep this Joy in place, we're not gonna let you do that.
Yeah, the only thing that could possibly lock this Joy in place is the suppression coming out from AP BREN. That's the only thing that are able to secure in the first phase pick. I feel like they're going to go down and ban away the Franco, in my opinion, because the Franco, the last thing you want to see is the Fanny jump steel cable around, and then you get a bloody hunt right in the face. So maybe that's where AP BREN should go for. That's also one of Super BIN heroes. But if you take a look at Super BIN, right, don't forget, the Grok can also go to the roam as well. And if Bigatron Alpha wants to switch it up, He can also go for the Angela. You saw it in the players head-to-head with Awkward, right? Angela is also part of that list.
And when you have 3 flexible heroes, it can be a headache. There's always this saying, right? Too much flex is no good, but in this case of Bigatron Alpha, it is very, very good. The Brody banned out, and that means Saki, and he's gonna have a field day. It has to be a Beatrix, right?
Yeah, I think the Beatrix is really good right here. Nibiru actually tracks as well, and if you want to mess things up a little bit, take a book from CW, right? Go for the Moscow instead, but no, okay, you're going to go for the Beatrix. Bigatron Alpha draft is not as flexible as an acrobat, right? It's as flexible as a contortionist. If you know what a contortionist is, man, it's just, you can put him to anywhere and he fits to any container like water.
Yeah. Contortionist is, for those who don't know what it is someone who doesn't have bones. No, I'm just kidding. It's just someone who's it's someone who is really, really flexible, which is kind of crazy. It used to freak me out as a kid because I'm like,
yeah, it still freaks me out today. And some of the horror movies actually use contortionists to basically use it as a to imitate monsters, right? And it add in a lot of fear factor. And speaking about that fear factor, that's exactly what Bigatron Alpha is doing against AP BREN. Just take a look. They're using and maximizing out their time to make sure that they got the 2 heroes that they need. That's going to be a carry, and that's going to be a Uranus for the side AP BREN.
So Uranus, the only front line for the team for sure, right? At least you don't have like a tank shredder, like a character to cut him down, but there is still the Esmeralda, right? We talked about this plenty of times. The Esmeralda can still go through and still be viable for the side of Bigatron Alpha. Yeah, even the Dyrov, right? We've seen the Bigatron Alpha, they faced the wrath of Dyrov yesterday, 2 games in a row against Onyx.
If they want to go for the Dyrov, I think it also works. And then that means that, you know, there's a lot more flexibility for the side of Bigatron Alpha, right? AP BREN instead, you know, carry, I think, is the best slot right here, right? They ban away the Brody from themselves. There's also technically still a Leslie. The second skill does help as well to just kick away that Joy, but that's a Ruby going in for the side of Super Vin, Super Ken, Super, I don't know. Okay,
Zorizo.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a Zorizo Vin, Zorizo Ruby, Super Vin going to Grok. Like I said, this is a contortionist kind of roster that Bigatron Alpha just put up into the field against AP BREN. Man, what a Giga Chat.
I mean, who needs a Franco, right? Ruby does the same. You steal cables in and suddenly you offend the Ruby and you are dead. So it still takes away a lot of that freedom that a hero like Fanny enjoys. Is it fair to say that for the first time in the series, we are seeing AP BREN kind of on the back foot just at the draft itself?
Yeah, I think it is, right? Usually, like, it is AP BREN that dominates the draft in terms of they get what they want, they understand what they need to ban away. But AP BREN this time around, these bans are very reactive against Bigatron Alpha, right? You saw the Kadita, you saw the Melissa, and you saw the Paquito. These are the 3 must bans if you're facing a team like Bigatron Alpha. Bigatron Alpha taking full advantage of that one and just literally went on ham and creative about that. I like the Ruby going to the EXP lane. Thank goodness for that, because I personally despise roam rubies because, like, you get a Franco, it does the job a lot better. But looking at where Zorizo is putting this ruby, going to EXP lane, good. Make sure that she gets the hard scores, able to sustain, and especially when facing up against AP BREN, the common style that Bigatron Alpha usually play is this AoE damage and AoE lockdowns. This has been the case since game number 1.
We've seen mid Ruby yesterday. I believe it was by Burnex Flash, and that unfortunately didn't work out for them. And this time Super Vin's gonna try and invade. Orko will spot him out. Please do not get the buff. Woo! That was very close. Super Vin just committing to it, and he's gonna give the first blood away to Kaotizi.
Yeah, Super Vin overextended just a little bit. Super Ken secures his own orange buff, so everything is still A-okay. But Bigatron Alpha breaking that flicker right off the bat. Looking at the seconds, yeah, Super Vin doesn't really have the flicker going into the first turtle fight, so that might be huge. No flicker wild charge anymore for the side of Bigatron Alpha.
And Kaotizi even stole the camp, so he's gonna hit 4 first. Super Ken starved out of his own jungle. Flatteezy also finding another one of the camps on that towards the bottom end. They do slow down the Joy a little bit, which is already a hero that isn't the fastest when it comes to clearing jungle, so a slightly good start for AP BREN.
Yeah, this time around it's a lot different, right? Super Barco back onto something that he's more comfortable with, I believe, on the carry as well. But look at Super Vin, he's getting chunked down low.
And he's gonna be taken down. Super Vin drop once more. That's 2-0 for Kaotizi. As a Fanny, you're gonna be very, very happy with the result.
Definitely right. Like you're snowballing. It's the same idea as your Hayabusa in game number 2. But going to the later parts of the game, we've seen how Fanny can fall. The only thing that Fanny can also confidently do in the later parts of the game is to basically cut away, play crossmat, right? Because of the rotation's a lot faster. But apart from that, the turtle is up, and I don't think Pikachu Alpha does have the priority over that. Super Bin slowly ticking towards level 4, doesn't have the flicker. Super Ken on the other side of the map, Awkward will be there to spot him out.
Getting completely harassed in the jungle, might need some help from Key just to secure the purple buff. On the other end, Kaotizi will get his. Super Bin once more in the rough spot. Doesn't have the ultimate anymore, so has to be very, very careful as Q comes in as well. Kaotizi pops concentration, trying to run down the members of Pikachu Alpha. 1 versus 3, not a problem. Ogwen by his side. Kaja not 4 yet, so no Divine Judgment.
No Divine Judgment, it was already used as well. If you notice how AP BREN and Pikachu Alpha is just reading each other like a book. Both of these roamers just on the opposite side of the map, just trying to slow down Kaotizi. Facing no issues right there, still at least secure his own purple buff. But Super Ken, like I said, this Super Ken's drop is the same as game number 2, right? Just to run down when Few goes into Cal Altar and then deny that, and then he can retreat and he can run away. His job is done.
Saki will clear the entire wave. It's just a classic carry game. If you can bully in lane, it'll take a lot of time to go up. Super showing up from Turtle as well. Remember the Pikachu Alpha is a simply full bag. You have the hard guard as a response, the Rizzo in the fight, but the retreat fight goes over to Kaotizi as he goes on a killing spree. This time Super Ken ends up going down.
Yeah, FlapTC still chasing on against Sorizo though. Key is still around there at the same time, but this is where AP BREN really wants to be in the early game, right? Like, KTC kept taking 3 kills, taking turtles for his name at the same time, taking a look at the emblems. I think the most interesting one, in my opinion, is definitely focusing mark for Super Vin. Knocks everybody up in the air, and then all of a sudden, hey, you know, you also do bonus damage towards everybody. But I think the question is, Sorizo low.
Actually put under the tower and killed off about a turret shot. I mean, that struck deals a truckload of damage. So a bit of an unlucky one for FlapTZ. Didn't have to sprint either way. Consecration was also down. Actually went for the Impure Rage instead of the Brave Smite.
I think it doesn't really matter for the side of FlapTZ. If you notice, FlapTZ really wants to sustain as much as possible in lane. And this bonus movement speed allows him to stick onto this target as much as possible to land on the Ionic Edge over and over again. The damage actually stacks out of control, and it does a lot of damage. If there's this one time I was casting and I saw Uranus does 48% of team damage, yeah, that's the whole idea of FlapTZ, right? But however, FlapTZ also go for the common emblem, right? Non-stop mana is exactly what a Uranus needs. Just stay in lane. Just stay in lane.
Gameplay is going to slow down just a little bit for AP BREN at least. And I think, you know, these kind of game states, it's minor good news for Pikachu Alpha. You don't have Kaotizi running around the map. You are not allowing him to further that snowball. The conversion is going to get mitigated for AP BREN. So we will be in the stalemate for a little bit. It's 1.5k goal advantage for AP BREN.
Yeah, not a big one, right? We saw how Pikachu Alpha can also swing back the economy lead because of that one. But Sakin on this Beatrix against Super Marco. This time around, Super Marco is able to stabilize. It's not as bad as, you know, the Harry game in game number 2. So that's A-okay. AP BREN, I think, because it gets that additional goal lead, it's because of the one turtle they took, and also Kaotizi on 3-0-0. It's a perfect game for Kaotizi for now. Super Ken is actually going hunting.
And Kaotizi, can you win the Retri War?
Oh, no.
Actually wins that one. The Retribution used way too early by Kaotizi, so Super Ken stealing it without using much effort. And when we look at the emblems also, Sakin, he's actually running the lethal ignition, right? So you watch out, he's gonna 3-shot you with that bonus damage from the Nibiru, something that you gotta respect a bit more. So Rizzo getting ran down on the top lane, but FlapTZ, no problem, not able to finish things off. And the Super Ken, meanwhile, they're trying to run down Ogwen. Ogwen ends up falling. Kaotizi taking a big snipe from Sakin. Ends up having to retreat. And Pikachu Alpha slowly coming online bit by bit. Just by taking these pickoffs and opening up the bottom lane for Sakin. And that means Sakin have a really good time taking down this bot tier 1.
Yeah, man. Like, right now, the total is completely forgotten by both these two teams because both these two teams are looking to play the purple buff as if it's a turtle itself. Now, KTZ getting put off from the purple buff is huge. So for a couple more minutes, AP BREN wasn't able to output enough of pressure against Bigatron Alpha. That's Bigatron Alpha's way to slow down KTZ. We saw that happen in game number 1 of EVOS Legends, and now Bigatron Alpha all of a sudden, because of that thing, that fact, they have turtle priority.
I'm offended to pull in on a 2. Flapteezy trying to buy as much time as possible. Unfortunately, Kauteezy ends up getting stunned, so can't contest the turtle. They get the Divine Death from Otto Zorizo, who just walks out of there without taking much damage at all, even though Super Marco is around. And Bigatron Alpha just disengages and even takes a tier 1 mid on the way out. Super Ken not done just yet. Electrifying Beak is used, gets the purple buff for himself once more. Kauteezy slowly getting punished in his own jungle as Flapteezy forced to disengage. All 5 members of Bigatron Alpha pushing AP BREN out of their own jungle.
Yeah, Bigatron Alpha currently winning the economy lane. Just take a look. Saken is already leading in terms of the gold, just like 300 gold behind. That's 1 component behind, right? So which means Saken is going to hit the critical mass in terms of the damage first as compared to Super Marco. But same problem could be said over the side of Bigatron Alpha, right? They take another purple buff away from KTZ once again. And then immediately you see how Bigatron Alpha is rotating super efficient, right? Take the turtle up top, go down, invade purple, and then go back to secure their own purple buff to deny KTZ from that purple buff away. KTZ right here, this is a very big speed bump that he has to speed through. If you take a look at the items, yeah, exactly right? BOD going in, but it's more expensive to build a Beatrix X compared to a carry, so carry is still not too far behind. However, another key thing to also look out for, Super Vin going for more expensive item instead of attack.
And Phil forced to pop the Call Ultra as was pulled in by Dorito early on. The Call Ultra will expire, and Super Ken just runs him down with the Electrifying Beast. Meanwhile, they're gonna get the pull onto Super Vin, which is a Grok that doesn't really care too much.
Yeah, like this time around, Awkward, even though you sport the Kaja against Joy, this is literally logic, right, for the side of everybody. But then again, Awkward wasn't able to output enough thing, but oh, Super Vin, well charged, the air.
Yeah, not able to get a connection, but doesn't really matter. Saken just destroys the health bar of Phil. And Bigatron Alpha coming online. Flapteezy don't really want to be there. Saken almost 2-shots him. And AP BREN, they just could not fight this. They need to buy time for Super Marco to come online.
Yeah, KTZ once again, and the purple buff already gone. I feel like teams right here need to know how to deal with an assassin that relies on purple buff. And then again, you need to deal with how Bigatron Alpha is dealing with AP BREN, because this is so annoying, right? KTZ is literally out of the game. The only thing he can do is only split pushing, and this is not a very good sign for AP BREN. Now the Lord is taken down by the side of Bigatron Alpha. It's very comfortable because AP BREN has no wings. AP BREN has no map pressure at all. Damage leaderboard, most of them super can, but that damage is kind of deceiving. The damage is mostly going to against Few with the Call Alta, right? So yeah, main goal super can, just deny the Call Alta once again. Bigatron Alpha in a more stable position right now as compared to game number 1 and game number 2.
Yeah, it's a very frustrating game for AP BREN. Very frustrating game for KTZ, especially when you're up 3-0. You have a pretty substantial lead, and then suddenly it all gets shut down because you lose 1 purple buff fight. And that just escalates into this Lord barreling down the middle lane. Your side lane is getting pressured, and Bigatron Alpha knocking on your front doors again. You look at the level differential, right? Bigatron Alpha slightly ahead in terms of experience. It's going to be Zorizo with the pullback onto Flapteezy. The Call Ultra will be there to save him, and they even respond with the Divine Touch onto Super Vin, who loses his first life thanks to Immortality. Kauteezy to the back, ends up getting pushed back by Super Ken as he gets electrocuted alive. Bigatron Alpha looking to fry AP BREN in their own base. Flapteezy dropping low. Zorizo gonna get the finisher. Gets destroyed instead by Super Marco as Kauteezy comes back in for round number 2. Bigatron Alpha forced back, and the mid inhibitor stands.
Yeah, good defense coming out from AP BREN. Once again, Bigatron Alpha taking it slow just a little bit. They want to take even more than they could expect right there, right? They'll pay the price by losing Zorizo right there. But if you notice how Super Ken, right? Two-shotting Kauteezy because of the electrocution. 2 proc from that ultimate is enough to push KTZ away. And don't forget, KTZ doesn't really have enough damage to assassinate because Key is just sticking onto Super Ken. And once again, finally, KTZ this time around secures his own buff. So that's a good sign of relief for the side of AP BREN, but is it a little bit too late?
It could be, right? AP BREN playing catch-out game. I know they're 2.5k go behind, and it's not not that significant yet, but you look at the XP differential. When that Lord spawns in another 50 seconds, Kautizi will never win the retry fight because he's just behind Super Ken in terms of level.
Yeah, Hunter Strike this time around being built at the very least, so a bit more burst damage, but Super Ken goes in full Blood Wings already. This is like late game item for Joy, whereas Kautizi just running through scraps, just taking out breadcrumbs from the streets of Bigatron Alpha after, you know, Bigatron Alpha has been looting all across the board from the side of AP BREN. And now with the Lord coming up in the next 20 seconds, AP BREN, they're not in a good position, right? You talk about the level difference between these two teams. I'm also going to talk about the fact that AP BREN is basically fighting on their side of the map. This is exactly where AP BREN doesn't want to be, especially when you have a Fanny, right? That's supposed to output pressure in the early game.
Yeah, absolutely. Flapteasy, he's trying to open up a lot of this space, but you can see that even his durability has its limits when Sakin is on top of him on his spear tricks. I mean, Super Marco, there's not much opportunities for him to fight. There's so many things you need to worry about, right? You gotta worry about the Grog running in your face, you gotta worry about Zorizo pulling you, you have to worry about Super Ken dancing on top of your body, and also Sakin just snipes you from 10 miles away. Bigatron Alpha, they're gonna start on this Lord right now. Going with the conceal, Zorizo is gonna instantly see it. Get the delay as now. Where is Kautizi? He's still taking the purple bar. This Lord is going to be gone. I do not think that AP BREN can win this, but they're going to try anyways. Committed to the fight. Kautizi straight to the back, trying to look for the kill. Can't find the assassination as Zorizo runs away and Flapteasy ends up getting taken out.
Yeah, Sakin landing down Nibiru's passion right there. I think it's just luck. Kautizi ate couple of shots right there. Kautizi immediately disengaged, right? He tries to go for the cleanup right there. Zorizo, Brave Smite's coming in just in the nick of time. Zorizo was basically being the pseudo tank. Let's take a look at the replay, right? Like, the knockout was there. Awkward was able to catch Zorizo, but Zorizo doesn't really care. He's more than happy to absorb that and notice it because Bigatron Alpha knows that there's no divine judgment. Kautizi coming for the flank. Unfortunately, Sakin pushing it away cleanly. Cal also, even though was already proc, Bigatron IP BREN knows they do not have the damage to continue the fight. They decide to back off. So a very nice fight coming out from the side of Bigatron Alpha. They still secure the Lord. AP BREN trying to punish Bigatron Alpha, but will not be able to find anything there.
Here comes the Lord. That's mid inhibitor down and ready. Kautizi can't hold a candle to Super Ken. The Joy is just outputting too much damage. That's without the help of Angela. So Kautizi is going to try to cut the wave as much as possible. They will scout out the members of Bigatron Alpha in the bottom side jungle. I guess the silver lining is that they still keep both the side lane inhibitors alive, but for how long?
It's gonna be tough. Sakin does have the Malefic Roar, so more damage against the turrets, right? Maybe this time around, AP BREN looking for a conceal play right here, looking for anybody, but look at that. Sakin is scarce. AP BREN couldn't reach Sakin at all. Sakin is the main damage dealer from the side of Bigatron Alpha. If you take a look at the items, yeah, Wind of Nature just in case Super Marco knows he's not gonna do any damage at Beatrix at all. And not only just that, right? If you take a look, Angela Key already going in. NOD for good measure. Ice Queen 1. Going into Holy Crystal, she's gonna heal even more, do a bit more, tad bit more damage. Not only just that, the utility that Angela brought onto the table is just so annoying and painful for AP BREN to deal with.
Especially for Flapteasy, right? You can't heal as much with the Consecration anymore. The healing reduction from
the Oracle
Key,
too.
Yeah, and the Oracle is just so... A lot of things are getting mitigated, right? Bigatron Alpha, they mitigate the healing from AP BREN, but they increase, they amplify the healing for themselves. And look at Kautizi, he's going to be playing on that bot side, just constantly trying to see if he can find a pick off. If not, he's going to try and cut the wave, put the pressure onto Bigatron Alpha side lane. Unfortunately, the Lord is spawning on the top side.
Yeah, Bigatron Alpha, I think the only way they need to try to solve this problem, right? Kautizi is saying, okay, you know what? I know I cannot actually team fight you like this 5v5. The only thing I can do, send Kautizi start doing hit and runs, right? Top side, bot side, bot side, until eventually Bigatron Alpha start to lose a lot of structures, and that's how AP BREN is going to have to try to stay in the game. And if you notice from the side of Bigatron Alpha, there's not anybody that comfortably rotate and match up the tempo that Kautizi is outputting. AP BREN needs to fight 4v1, and then after that, Bigatron Alpha noticing that, if you notice, they're spreading themselves apart, right? Because they know Kautizi can be anywhere. They need a quick task force to deal with this raiding Fanny.
And also, you want to be aware of the peak potential that Awkward poses. You can see Flapteasy, he's going to be putting his body in front once more. Bigatron Alpha I think you just make the call to rush on the Lord, right? The Fanny is not going to be there in time. You have more than enough damage. Where is AP BREN in the situation? They gotta be there right now. You see the conceal play from behind. The Lord dropping low! And Kautisi steals it somehow. They even get to Sakin. The wraparound was immaculate from AP BREN. Immortality from Superman goes down. Super Marco outputting the damage. Super Ken was him dead. And we'll find him. But is it enough though? The Alice, he can't keep him alive for long enough. Super Ken ends up falling. It's Spew and Flaptizi against Zorizo and Key. All the frontliners and support piled up together in this fight. Is an even trade. But AP BREN with heroic saved this game for themselves.
Yeah, AP BREN right here, literally that one button literally won, won them the game, won them back the map dominance, and now it's Bigatron Alpha on the back foot. This is exactly what I was talking about. When the late game comes, Super Marco pops off. You saw the damage that he was able to output there, all because of that flank, right? And now it's just Zorizo and Few going up against each other. The turret shot, with just one more, who should do the trick. But let's take a look at the instant replay, how it actually unfolds. If you notice, Kautisi coming in just in the nick of time to sacrifice himself, just to take up that Lord, right? And Super Ken getting shot all the way out. And if you notice how the members of AP BREN just focusing on the backline of Bigatron Alpha, immediately they're dead. Super Ken got caught out of position right there. He went on the other way. He was a little bit, I bet he was a little bit confused. That Lord should have been theirs, but Kautisi stole it away, and that took Bigatron Alpha off guard.
Yeah, silver lining was that they were able to get rid of Super Marco before Super Ken went down, because I think if Super Marco stayed alive, this game would have absolutely gone off the rails for Bigatron Alpha.
Yeah, they found second, so that's actually a very good thing. And AP BREN knows that is the main win condition now. Even though Bigatron Alpha loses that Lord, they're able to stabilize just a little bit because of their sheer amount of structures, right? AP BREN still needs to go through multiple defensive structures from Bigatron Alpha to finally hit the strike at that heart. If you take a look at the items, yeah, Oracle, a Bloodlust Axe, Dom Eyes, going into Blade Armor, I believe. That's good item against Carry, which will kill himself because of the output, the attack speed alone, and he's also healing out of that and reducing attack speed as well. So Zorizo is also pseudo tanky. There you go, Blade Armor. And then also, if you notice, from the side of Ken, also going for the Blade Armor as well, ignoring the immortality instead.
Yeah, I mean, you want to shred out Hellbar, we'll watch you destroy yourself when you hit it. Get the pull, this one could be massive. Super Win needs to get out. The damage of Super Marco not enough. The also keeping him alive. Super Ken, watch out! As he gets eviscerated by Kautisi. And Bigatron Alpha overextending just a little bit. They cannot fight this. With Super Ken down for 40 seconds, AP BREN can start to set up at Lord.
Yeah, Super Ken cannot fight that at all, right? No pun intended right there. But you see how AP BREN is finally stabilized as well. The burst damage coming out from Few and Super Marco as well, just chunking down Super Ken. The Blade Armor, he thought that he's actually able to do and defend himself just a little bit more. But in the end of the day, he has HP bars, but he doesn't have the armor to deal with it, right? Now, Bigatron Alpha, because of losing Super Ken right there, it's only 13 seconds. Now, if you notice how Kautisi is positioning, that's a Divine Judgment.
And then the pull, that's the Immortality. Zorizo, if he goes down, he's gonna be big trouble. This is the Mirror's Passion right there. Sakin just shoots through Super Marco's health bar, and Zorizo survives. Kautisi, can you at least get a kill? No, he cannot. Sakin saves it for Bigatron Alpha, and a turnaround right there as Lord spawns and Super Ken comes back to life. Oh, AP BREN, what have you done?
Oh no, AP BREN had that one small window opportunity, got shut down by Zorizo. AP BREN was pouring all the resources into Zorizo, couldn't end his life right there, actually ended AP BREN instead. Now Bigatron Alpha is going to focus on the Lord right now. AP BREN couldn't actually defend this, right? Like, they don't really have, okay fine, Super Marco is going to come online just in time. Zorizo, to make things work, that's a Demon Wings going in. He's going to have even more spellbam, even more sustain. I think AP BREN, it's all about target prioritization right now. Target the wrong person, you're dead. Sakin's gonna leave you question, shred you all across the board.
I mean, they all stuck together, right? Sakin is like, all right, is it you guys gonna come together? Hello, taste some lead. Kautisi back just in time. This could be the final push for Bigatron Alpha. Look at that! Zorizo straight in! And Few, he's dead! Super Marco gotta run. Survive just for a little bit. The Winter Trunk is keeping Super Ken alive, but AP BREN, can you stave off this assault? If Bigatron Alpha, they will focus everything on the crystal. And Bigatron Alpha have done it in their home ground and in front, in the faces of AP BREN. They stopped them dead in their tracks.
It turns out, you know, Bigatron Alpha wasn't a speed bump, wasn't an obstacle for AP BREN. They were the conquerors. Bigatron Alpha taking 2-1 against AP BREN. AP BREN was trying to do everything, even though, you know, AP BREN has, not say the better draft, mind you, they're trying to outmaneuver the draft just a little bit, trying to wiggle it around, but Bigatron Alpha coming in, playing a perfect, not say a perfect game, but a very good draft. Angela is the only one that